I think it's probably seems like the most possible of the scenarios because they seem to be willing to put the most serious offer on the table, and it's something that at least we have something, Skip, that we says, okay, at least the Nets countered their offer. Because prior to that, we keep, well, maybe if they offer this, if they offer that, they keep saying, well, the Nets highball. No, the Nets are not going to take no low offer. What do you mean? This is a house in Malibu. This is a house in Bel Air. They're not going to take no low ball offer. You're not in the Valley. You're going to pay premium price for a guy like that. Guys like that, like you say, Skip, don't go on California trees. Guys like that come along once in a generation, once in 3 generations.
The point is, they're not trying to auction off Kevin because they have to move him, because they don't have to move him.
Correct.
So if you want to pay their price.
Thank you. If you want to pay the premium price, we'd be more than willing to let you take Kevin Durant off our hands. But if you think just because he wants out and we're going to accept any offer that you throw at us, well, here's 4 role players and 3 first-round picks, and we'll give you 2 pick swaps, that's not going to happen. They've laid it out. We want an all-star level player. Jaylen Brown's an all-star level player. They got a defensive player of the year in Marcus Smart. Do you want Grant Williams or Robert Williams? I'm thinking they're going to want Robert Williams. But, hey, will they accept Grant Williams with 3 first-rounders and 2 pick swaps? Skip, that seems like the offer. Now, you know how I feel about Golden State. Basically, they said, we want every role player that starts for the Golden State Warriors. So we want Poole, we want Kuminga, we want Moody, we want Wiseman, and we want the guy that did an outstanding job that had Steph Curry not won MVP. It was going to be Andrew Wiggins. We want him too while you at it. And since you got some on your hand, let us get a couple of draft picks also. That's it. But they're like, come on, man, get out of here. But Boston seems to have a very viable offer, Skip. And like you said, the Nets don't have to move Kevin Durant. He has 4 years left. Where he going? He can't go anywhere. It's not like, well, if you don't trade me at the end of the summer, I'm leaving and you're going to get no compensation. Guess what? We'll still have you for 3 more summers, too.
Yep.
So for me, Skip, I don't think they're like, we don't want, no, they don't want to. But they're saying that if we do have to move Kevin Durant, we're going to get damn near our asking price or as close as we possibly can to that asking price before you get Kevin Durant services. So this notion, the high asking price. No, Minnesota was foolish and gave up what they gave up to get Rudy Gobert.
That's Rudy Gobert.
Yeah. And so they're looking like, well, look, I understand that's Minnesota, but we got Kevin Durant. We got something every other team in the league won't. I'm not so sure every other team wants a Rudy Gobert. But I guarantee you, every damn team in the NBA would take Kevin Durant right now.
You got it.
So I don't have any problems. I do think that if a deal is, it seems to me, Skip, if a deal is going to happen, it's going to be between these 2 franchises.
Before I address that question, allow me to address what Jayson Tatum said yesterday in response to the speculation that the Boston Celtics might trade for Kevin Durant. I love Jayson Tatum, everything he stands for. Every word he speaks is correct. Every word that comes out of that young man's mouth is right on point. Mm-hmm. It's perfectly thought out. Mm-hmm. He said it exactly right. He said, I played with Kevin on the Olympic team, so I know all about him. Obviously, he's a great player because obviously he is.
Yes.
But that's not my decision. I don't wear that hat, that GM hat. Yeah. And I love our teams. I love the guys we got. Right. You have to say that just in case. What if all this falls through?
And that's what the Boston Celtics got to understand. What if this falls through and now you put Jaylen Brown out there? Now, how he looking at you?
Well, you know how he's looking at the world. It was shaking my head, right?
Exactly.
Because he is shaking his head like, what the hell?
Really? That's what y'all think about me, huh?
Really? Okay. And Jayson Tatum went on to say that we got 2 new pieces that he's excited about. They got Malcolm Brogdon and they got Gallinari. Yeah. Okay, well, they're sweet pieces. Yes. They're just what the doctor ordered to make you a little better at a couple of spots.
I'm not so sure if they don't have those pieces, we might be having a bear. Maybe we go 7 games. Maybe it's a different outcome.
Maybe.
But I definitely like Malcolm Brogdon, and I like Gallinari coming off the bench, another stretch like an Al Horford. But I think he's a better shooter than Horford, although he doesn't rebound and play defense like Horford.
For Atlanta, Gallinari made a lot of big shots for them. Every time I'd look up on a close game, he'd just go straight up and shoot a 20-footer and just rip it. You know, like he's got some clutchness to him. He's got some some killer toughness to him.
Yeah.
I like him. I think those are sweet pickups.
I like him also.
Okay. To me, I'm doing this a little bit in a vacuum, just hypothetically. I don't think the Nets are even going to sort of open discussions here unless you substitute in the package JT for JB, as in you put Jayson Tatum in there instead of Jaylen Brown.
That's a no-starter.
Okay,
They made that clear, Skip.
Okay, that's the only way I believe the Nets would even entertain the notion of. Now, I'm back to where I was at square one. Bleacher Report did a piece about this, quoting executives around the league. Nobody around the league that they spoke to thinks the Nets are even going to think about trading Kevin Durant. That this is all placating Kevin. This is sort of, if you will, not to be too dismissive, but it's like they're patting Kevin on the head. They're honoring his quote-unquote trade request by saying, hey, we're out there beating the bushes for you. But their asking price is obviously absurdly high, and it's so high they know that nobody's going to meet that asking price, even for Kevin Bleepin' Durant, because they don't want to trade him with 4 years left. They don't want their hand to be forced. And I do believe that Joe Tsai is taking this as a call to action as part of the ownership group, saying we've got to re-seize some control that we gave away. That we gave away. We let the superstars just take over our franchises and say, I want out. Trade me to Brooklyn. Trade me to Philadelphia. And James pulled that off twice in a row. And now Kevin is trying to pull it off, maybe not as outwardly as James, and yet I think Joe Tsai, Sean Marks, I think they're going to bet that this late in Kevin's career, he's not going to be prone to pout. He's not going to be prone to certainly sacrificing a whole holdout year at this stage in age. Like he's not built that way.
No.
Kevin hoops. Kevin works hard at hooping. He doesn't post a lot of his workouts like LeBron does, but he's in the lab. He's in the gym every day, working just as hard as anybody out there, Kawhi, LeBron, whoever it might be. And as Jerry West said, I really respect his respect for the craft of playing basketball.
Right.
So that's what the Nets are banking on here, is that he just wants to hoop, man. He just wants to play. And if they say, sorry, you signed on. We got you for 4 years. We entered into this with mutual respect and regard for this contract. Now you have to honor it going forward, at least for another couple of years, and then maybe we could have a discussion.
But you still believe that Kevin Durant wants out. That hasn't changed. Now, whether or not the Brooklyn Nets want to trade him is something entirely different.
I don't think that ever changed. Okay. I don't think they want to do it. You're asking me to try to psychoanalyze a KD that drives me crazy. He's the thinnest skinned superstar. You use the word mercurial.
Yeah.
He skyrockets mercurial. I don't know, from moment to moment, he's extremely moody. He's unpredictably moody. He has burner accounts. He has his brother speaking out for him, saying, hell with this notion that I keep espousing.
But I also believe, Skip, that's one of the reasons, all the reasons what you just mentioned in the last paragraph, is that why the teams are so unwilling to just give up the ranch for him. Because as you said, he might change his mind next year. And then what? I've given up Jaylen Brown, I've given up Marcus Smart or Grant or Robert Williams and draft picks and pick swaps. And now he wants to leave. Skip, if a man wins 2 championships in 3 years with 2 finals MVP, if that can't bring him happiness, I thought winning. He was hooping, playing beautiful basketball. He said he loved playing that beautiful brand of basketball. He was playing a beautiful brand of basketball. He was winning championships, finals MVP. That couldn't keep him happy.
Okay, but I do believe he misses that part of it. I don't think he misses playing with and against Steph, sort of, where he's sort of fighting Steph for who's the man.
Skip, you know what? I'm not so sure that championships is what makes Kevin Durant happy. I don't know what makes him happy. But just playing basketball probably makes him happy. But then that might change one day, and then all of a sudden he's ticked off about something that has nothing to do with basketball.
You could be right. Okay? So, in the end, I believe he plays for the Nets. I believe Kyrie plays for the Nets.
Well, they don't want Kyrie to play for the Nets.
I don't know about that.
Skip, I believe they want Kyrie. I believe, all things being equal, they want to run it back, but I think they want to run it back with just KD and someone else. Skip, they've had enough of Kyrie. I mean, now all of a sudden, he wants to stay in Brooklyn with or without KD. Bro, they want you gone.
Okay, I got it. But the huge difference between Kyrie and Russell Westbrook is Kyrie is still worth the trouble to me. He's still that good. He's still maybe on the backside of his prime, but he's still in his prime.
But they don't believe he's worth the trouble that he caused them. Yeah, Skip, there's no question. There's a reason why, and we're going to talk about this a little later. There's only one team seemed to be interested in Kyrie. Only one. And that team happened to have LeBron, who seemingly, for somehow, was able to get 3 years out of Kyrie.
He did.
When no one else has ever been able to do that.
I just think they were the favorites going into last year. That was with James Harden, and they're going to say, because I believe Kevin and Kyrie have fallen completely out.
Well, then you got to move one of them, Skip.
No, you don't. You just say, we're going to get you two in a room before training camp, and we're going to refigure this out. And they're hoping that Ben Simmons can refigure it all out and come back physically and psychologically healthy. And then you've got something, if you got those three, because they keep adding pieces like they're trying to win it all next year. They're all win-now moves. Royce O'Neal or Warren or whoever, all those little pieces they keep adding, right?
But Skip, I mean, look, you said that they're on the do not invite. I mean, when you're close like that, and all of a sudden you fall apart like seemingly they have. Now, we don't, I mean, we're on the outside looking in, but it doesn't seem like they're as close today as they were 3 yesterdays ago. It's going to be that's going to be a very, very interesting situation, Skip.
It's tricky and it's tough, but Brooklyn's best opportunity to win a championship
no question
next year is to just figure this all back out with Kyrie and with Ben Simmons. That's your only hope. Anything less than that, you don't have a chance. Even if you move Kyrie, I don't think Kevin and Ben Simmons and whatever, I just don't know what you're going to get back for Kyrie. Because to your point, the rest of the world is afraid of him too.
Yes, they
except
absolutely.
for LeBron, and I don't blame LeBron for that one because I believe he could, whatever that word is, handle Kyrie or coexist or whatever it is. I believe
massage his ego.
Yes, he could. He could maximize Kyrie's production in L.A. because Kyrie wants that. He wants to reconstruct what they had because he regrets blowing it up prematurely.
And plus, Skip, you also have to understand now, you give up draft compensation. Kyrie only has 1 year. There's no guarantee that he's going to re-sign with you.
No.
Now you give up compensation and he walks out the door. You get no compensation back for him, but you've given it up to get him. So now what? I believe the most important thing is that his behavior behind the scenes and, the mandate, but there don't seem to be a mandate going to move forward, and definitely is not one outside of Brooklyn. But, you hear the way he talked to his teammates and the way he treated the coaches and the way he talked and conducted himself behind the scenes. Team's like, nah, I ain't putting up with that.
You need those guys to figure it back out, or you got no shot. You just want Kyrie in L.A.
No, I want Kyrie to be happy.
Time will tell.
Kyrie to be happy.
Whew, that's a tall order some days.
Thank you for watching. You can subscribe here to get the latest from the show, and be sure to check out more of the best clips from Undisputed, or go watch a few other segments from our other shows on FS1.